Hi everybody. So we're going to try something a little different this week, and I'm not going to do a geek week. I'm going to do a real life adventure vlog, because sometimes I go on real life adventures. So as you might already know, last week was my first real week of classes, but it ended up being a really weird week because we had a snow day. They canceled classes from 4 p.m. on Tuesday to 4 p.m. on Wednesday, which meant I missed a night class on Tuesday and my only class on Wednesday. And then on Wednesday night I got sick and I ended up sleeping most of Thursday away. Friday I had one class, and then on Saturday I had my real life adventure. It's something that my dad has been planning for a long time. And we were originally going to go in the summer, and then like real life things got in the way or whatever, so we ended up having to wait until December. But basically, I am 20 years old, and I am a theater major. I've been working in theater since I was 13, I believe was my first theater job, both inside school and outside of school. And I had never been to New York to see a Broadway show. I had been in New York twice, once with the high school marching band and we went to see the Statue of Liberty, and once with my family, and we just sort of walked around all day and went to all like the stores. We went to like the Toys R Us and American Girl because we were with kids or whatever. And it was also at Christmas, so it was like really super crazy when I visited with my family. But I had never seen a Broadway show, so it was something that my dad really wanted to do for me, and it was really sweet, and I didn't have to pay for anything, which was super. So it was my choice what I wanted to see for shows, and I ended up picking out Once, the musical. Originally, one of the factors that went into me choosing it was the fact that Arthur Darvill was playing the guy who's the lead character. The lead character guy and girl don't have names, they're just the guy and the girl. And he unfortunately left the show in the middle of December, which is fine. The girl who was playing girl alongside him is still in the show, so I did get to see her. And for some reason, I didn't anticipate that a lot of the cast is still the original Broadway cast, and I guess that really shouldn't be surprising because it's not an old musical. So what we did was we drove through Connecticut, and we stopped in Connecticut and checked into a hotel so that we wouldn't have to drive all the way back home when we got out of the show at night, because we went to an 8 o'clock show. And so we stopped in the hotel, put our stuff down, changed into like our good, like going to the theater clothing, and we drove into New York. And unfortunately, we were using my dad's phone GPS thing, and it crapped out when we were 2 minutes away from the theater. We had the addresses of a parking garage that we could go and park our car right next to the theater, which was the plan. And yeah, so his GPS pooped out when we were like 2 seconds away from the theater, and luckily it deposited us right in that area. So we ended up kind of circling around for a while, and we did have the addresses of the theater and of the parking garage, so we did find it, and we had given ourselves plenty of time, and like it really wasn't that bad. There wasn't that much traffic, and it could have been a lot worse. There was a couple minutes where it was like, oh my god, we're in so much trouble. But it could have been so much worse. It actually ended up being fine. And we ended up finding the parking garage and parking by like 7 o'clock. And it was cold, but it was not like frostbite cold. So we did walk around for about half an hour. We went and we saw, you know, some of the marquees. I took pictures with this camera, even though I'm not a huge picture taker, and I never have been, and having a camera doesn't change the fact that I don't really like taking pictures. I saw the marquee for If Then, which is the new Idina Menzel musical, which the marquee literally just went up, like last week I think, and they started rehearsals in New York City yesterday, and they're not even in official New York previews yet. So that was kind of cool, just because it was something that I was like, oh my god, that's a brand new thing that's up, like not many people have seen that yet. So that was really cool. And then, so we walked around for about half an hour, you know, kind of like looked around some of the shops or whatever, and my uncle had given my dad some money to spend on me for what I wanted for like a souvenir. I didn't find anything in the shops that I really wanted because I wanted to see what they were selling at the theater for once. 7:30, got in line, went in the theater, almost cried because I was like, oh my god, I'm in a real Broadway house. And watched once, and it was super duper. I mean, I've loved the music for a really long time, but I'd never seen a production of it, and not even online, like I didn't even watch any bootlegs. So I really didn't know how the show was going to be structured, because the soundtrack that I listen to is actually the movie soundtrack, which is very similar, but there are a few different songs, and I think the order of things is different. And obviously different people sing it. So it was an amazing experience, and obviously, you know, the cast was wonderful and the production was everything I wanted it to be. And I cried at the end because I'm super emotional about everything. And then when I looked at my dad and tried to thank him, I started crying again because it was just really emotional, because I'm a theater major and I'd never been to New York, and New York had been this like big magical thing that I never thought I was going to get to. And you know, I think some people go their whole lives and never go see a Broadway show, so I feel really lucky and really blessed. Well, what I ended up buying at the theater was just a program book. And it's really nice. You know, it has pictures from the original Broadway cast and quotes from the creative team and stuff, and it's just a really nice, really pretty little memento of the show. And it actually has in it the little program in case I would ever misplace this playbill, which I never would because now I have a real playbill. I think I might have some playbills from Boston, but I don't know if those are legit. I ended up getting the program book and the cast recording on CD just because it was cheaper to get them both, and I didn't have the original Broadway cast recording yet. Figured it would be nice to have it on CD. And this is really great, and I love the music on it, and it has a few instrumental tracks, which I thought was really nice. And then the other thing I got was, of course, we got concessions and 2 drinks and a box of Junior Mints. Cost $40, but we did get these snazzy cups, and they have the Once logo on them, and they're little sippy cups because they don't want you spilling your drink. Oh, it was, I'm in awe of how talented the cast was to play instruments and sing, and sometimes dance with really unwieldy instruments, and just do everything by themselves. They move all the sets, and it was just, oh my god, it was crazy. But it was so cool. In the Jacobs Theater aisles. So I kept this. It's super. So we watched the show, I cried, whatever. And then got the car back really easy from the parking garage, and we were going to drive out of the city, and we realized that the GPS still wasn't working, so my dad had to call his girlfriend and get directions for us to get out of the city. And it was actually super easy. We just had to turn around on the street we were on and follow the signs to the highway. So we drove to Connecticut, spent the night in Connecticut, and then got up and drove the rest of the way back here. He dropped me off in Providence and drove home. And then I had to do work for classes and stuff, and it was really weird to go back to the real world after like having that day of driving and being in New York and stuff. That is my real life adventure. It's just probably long and rambly, but I was just very excited about everything, and I think my dad enjoyed the show too. I think I made a really good choice with what show that we were gonna go see. So thank you for listening to my story. I had an awesome day, and I will be back next week, maybe with a Geek Week, maybe with something else. Thanks for watching my face. Bye!